So I've been playing my bass for a little while just to make sure it feels well with what we've done setup wise. Feels good, it's dialed in the way I like, with the right amount of neck relief from adjusting the truss rod and the right action height from adjusting both the interstring spacing and the saddle height. So I'm in good shape. Now we're going to start adjusting something that actually changes the way the bass sounds. There's a lot of myths and a lot of things out in the public domain about how to adjust pickup height. Generally, you don't want the pickups to get too close to the strings because the magnets in them will either cause the string vibration to change, or you may be giving so much input to the magnets that you could get some distortion. And you don't want them too far away from the strings, meaning too low, because then you're not going to get enough signal. Okay, so you want to have the pickup set in kind of a middle range, not being too close nor too far away from the strings. As you change, if you play a jazz bass or a jazz bass style instrument that has two sets of pickups, as you change the ratio between the pickup heights, meaning the neck pickup and the bridge pickup, if you raise the bridge pickup, you're going to get a little bit more cut, a little bit more bite, a little bit more treble. If you raise the neck pickup, you're going to get more low end. Why is that? It's because the string vibrates more here than it does here. By the time it's getting to the bridge, the string is almost at its witness point on the saddle, and so you're picking up much less vibrational energy in the bridge pickup as opposed to the neck pickup. Okay? P bass is a little bit of a different animal. What you're dealing with a P bass is the various, you have two parts to the P bass and you have a total of 4 screws to adjust. You're trying to get each string to sound equal in terms of volume. So you're adjusting the height of each screw until you kind of listen with your ear and you say, that sounds pretty even across the range. Different set of things going on with jazz bass style instruments. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got all my tone controls wide open. If I have an active bass like this bass, I'm either going to put it in passive mode, or in this case, I'm going to make all of the tone controls neutral. And if I have either 2 volume pots, or in this case, a blend pot, I'm going to make sure that both pickups are fully on. All right, so I'm dealing with volume blend here. Some of you will have volume. All good. Just make sure all the tone is turned up. Not all the way up, right? If you've got a passive tone, it's all the way up. Don't turn your EQ all the way up. You want that neutral. All right? So I've got the bass that way. The first thing I'm going to do to start is to go across the strings and try to get an approximation in my head of whether they sound even. Am I getting a similar volume? If I heard the treble too loud, okay, I would lower this side of the pickups, okay? If I heard the bass too loud, I would lower this side. So I'm actually going to start with each individual pickup. I'm going to isolate the neck pickup, okay? You're going to hear a little bit of 60 cycle hum because I don't have it right now in humbucking mode. I think I'll get rid of that, okay? So I'm humbucking, so you're not going to hear that. And on this pickup, I'm going to go through that pattern to kind of listen for them being even. They are in this case. Now I can show you, right? I'll take a screwdriver. I'm going to really raise that part of the pickup. What do you think that's going to do? It's going to give me more bass on the E. They're no longer in balance, okay? So there is no right or wrong here. It's your bass. You're making your bass's voice sound like you want it. Again, with the caveat that you don't want either set of pickups to be too close to the strings or too far away. I'm back to pretty much neutral for me. Now I'm going to do the other pickup, the bridge pickup. they sound similar. One of the things you'll find if you're doing that is your treble side of your pickups are going to tend to want to be a little bit higher than your bass. Why? Because there's less vibrational energy in those strings, and so in order to get them to be similar in volume to the lower strings, the magnets need to be closer, okay? So you'll go through those adjustments with each pickup first, and then you get to the point that you try to balance the pickups between them. And again, once you dial it in the way you like, that's when you take your measurements. But do not go to the internet and find Joe's setup, preferences, or Harvey's setup preferences, or Marjorie's, and try to recreate them for yourself. Every bass is different, and when properly set up, you've just gone through the process of correctly putting the right amount of bow in your neck, adjusting the saddle height the way you want. You have to adjust your pickups to those things. So we get people that call us at the shop all the time and say, what is your stock setup for pickup height? And we say there is none, and it drives them crazy. But the reality of it is that we don't. So if you heard it sounds like the bridge pickup is a little louder than the neck pickup on my bass. That's because I like a bass that has some cut to it. So I tend to run my my bridge pickup, this one, a bit higher than my neck pickup. So if you were looking at the distance between the pickups and the strings, the bridge pickup on my bass is closer to the strings. That's also pretty typical because, as I told you earlier, there's less vibrational energy here. And so in order to get even the same volume as the neck pickup, it has to be higher. So then you go ahead and you adjust these, and I've done that, and I start playing, right? And I would play back and forth. I'd play different tunes. I'm not going to bore you with that. But the reality of it is, and then you start to hear, do I have too much kind of bridge honky, kind of mid twang that can get? Do I have too much beefy low end from the bass side? And you adjust your pickup heights and tweak it. Once you're done, okay, you can take a measurement. Well, it's off camera right now, so I won't grab it, but you can take your ruler and actually measure on your specific bass what the difference between your pickup height is on the bass side and treble side under the strings for each pickup. You write that down, and then you know it. You don't have to guess it in the future. And if you ever have to move your pickups for whatever reason or take them out to service them or what have you, you can always put them back to the position that you know is yours. So that's pickup height. It's not rocket science. It's also not witchcraft. It's knowing yourself, listening to your ear, and going through a pattern to make things sound even across the strings, okay? And then set up the appropriate variance between the two pickup heights so that you're getting a tone that you like the balance of overall. And you do that with your tone controls in the neutral position. Because what you want to do is come to your neutral tone, and then from there you can always color it, right? By adding some active EQ or rolling off the tone control, whatever you want to do.